But like the ocean, it gives you peace, so will my program.
To get from you a little bit more to your inspiration that
the governments that are involved, we've been able to form an environmental working group.
Department on energy who have invested approximately or given aid. USAID has given an aid of $1.9 million to this project. Welcome to A Piece of My Mind. Tonight in South Africa, we're taking one of Africa's princes who's going to tell us a little bit of the culture and the people of the Rainbow Nation, South Africa. Mazi Hadebe is my guest tonight, and I'm going to ask him to please tell me the full pronunciation and meaning of his name, because I couldn't pronounce it and I didn't want to be so rude, so I gave you the short version. Mazi, hi. Welcome to A Piece of My Mind.
Hi, Peace.
These open fields and valleys will turn into temporary villages. They will be occupied by initiates hoping to become men. The circumcision custom has been influenced by modern times. Nowadays, they can only go to the bush during school holidays. As a result, they flock there in great numbers, putting pressure on circumcision surgeons. The initiates' concentration, as they are taught the necessary manhood skills, is often clouded by fear for their lives.
These lives of these boys are important to us, and we need them. We don't want them to be killed whilst undergoing a normal custom, because of carelessness. Parents are equally responsible, women and men.
I'm called Manzo Lwandle Hadebe.
Okay.
Manzo Lwandle meaning sea water.
Okay.
I'm a direct descendant of Langalibadele. Langalibadele, he was the king of the Klubis.
The Klubis, yeah.
Yes, in Natal Midlands.
Okay.
He was attacked by the British in 1873, and they locked him up in Robben Island during that time for 14 years. He died in 1879.
Okay.
So since that time, the Klubis have been scattered in the whole of the African continent.
Okay.
Well, these are the sort of things, because when we talk about the whole issue coming from the West now about circumcision, virginity, and stuff like that, it's like there's so much being spent by the UN, UNICEF, against circumcision in Africa. Both in Nigeria and all over Africa, there's a whole idea that we should stop circumcision in women, and we should, well, apart from the circumcision in men, which goes on in hospital. But in South Africa, this is still a major, well, I don't want to use the word ritual, but it is. It's a major ritual that goes on whereby you both have the female circumcision and the male circumcision. Why do we continue with this whereby the whole world is saying to us, this is very bad, people are dying from it, female circumcision doesn't allow women to enjoy sex, those kind of things. Those are the propaganda, if you want to use the word, or the statements of fact being made by the Western world to us.
I think it is because of understanding the founder members of African Renaissance.
Okay.
We'll go to Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah's, the Libyan leader, Muammar Gaddafi, Julius Nyerere in Tanzania, Thabo Mbeki in South Africa. If you really understand about the rebirth of Africa, then Mbeki is not only talking about governance in Africa, but now when you talk about rebirth of Africa, you're talking about culture, you're talking about tradition, right? You're talking about Ubuntu. Where do we come from?
Who are
Where
we?
do we come from? We have adopted this Western culture where we find ourselves that we cannot cure some other diseases which were curable, right, in the African culture. We're talking about umdlavuza, that is cancer. We're having medicines which are called umdlavuza itself that cure cancer. We're having medicines which cure TB, right? Those medicines are called umhlonyane and all those kind of things. But because, right, we have diverted from our own culture and custom and then take the Western culture, is where we find ourselves that now we cannot be in a position of curing these other diseases. So taking you back to African Renaissance, that the Renaissance we're talking about that now that the world have adopted so much, have consumed so much of the Western culture, we find that there is no respect. We find that there is consummation of drugs, alcohol, and all those kind of things by young people. But we remember that we used to drink the home brew, right? The home brew which not make you mad when you're drunk. We used to smoke the cigarette, not the cigarette of the Western culture, but marijuana and all those kind of things, which you smoke and then after you feel, you can see your ancestors during the time when you smoke. But this doesn't happen. Instead of smoking that, now the demons come to you. These all things because, right, we have thrown away our culture. We have thrown away our belief.
Yeah.
Right? We have thrown away. So the gods are turning against us.
Is that why we're not able to cure the cancer anymore?
Yes. So when we come to the restoration of the circumcision in South Africa, it helps a lot. We know that for health reasons, that a man, when he comes to circumcision, it helps in the foreskins, where you don't have some bruises, where you can get some diseases or whatever, syphilis, gonorrhea, you can name them, right? Where it helps you in that. But here, when we talk about circumcision, we're talking about a Western, a Western word, right? Talking about circumcision. In South Africa, we're talking about initiation. Initiation, it is something which is to prepare a boy to a manhood.
Okay.
Right? They go concurrently with circumcision. Here they teach you, it is a school where they teach you how to behave as a man, right? And then how to behave when you're having your family now as a grown-up man.
Okay.
So it is not something where you just have to go in and cut your foreskin. No. It is somewhere where you have to be taught that a man have to behave in this way. You don't have to beat your wife, right? You don't have to argue with your wife, but to make a harmonious home. Is that right? You have to understand one another. That the same thing applies to the woman.
Yeah.
That we're talking about initiation school. We're not talking about women mutilation, as now the Westerns are talking about women mutilation, and then those who have never even seen that thing, but they are echoing the word of mutilation, but they have never even seen that thing. They don't know about it.
see, some African women are also out there screaming and saying, we don't want circumcision anymore.
These are people who never went or undergo this practice, right? They don't know it. You have to ask first before you can be vocal on something. Because this is a practice where it helps women that they can contain their husbands. As we know that, right, we men, we go all around, right? You want a mistress, you are not satisfied at home. But this, it makes a man that he must be satisfied with one woman. So it have been made like that by our ancestors, that, right, women have to undergo this initiation school. In Sesotho, they say Bali, right? They studied as Bali. I can even show you the picture where these Balis are starting at. This is one of the Bali. They wear this, but somewhere here they cover their faces, and then they smear themselves with mud, with mud all around. So this is a girl, right? This is a girl. That's why she's wearing this here, right? And so a woman, a fully grown woman, she'll be wearing this, but now this woman, she's not yet married. This is still a girl whom we call it Ichi. You can see the teeth, right? They're still upright. And then now we're having the fully grown woman. This woman is the Shubi woman. She's wearing here a ring. This is a ring showing that, right, she's married.
Okay, so the ring doesn't go on the finger, it goes on the neck.
It goes on the neck.
Okay.
The ring, it goes on the neck. And then now, this one is also a woman with all what she was. Now, the apron up here, it shows that this woman, she's now having children. This woman, she doesn't have an apron. Now she shows that, right, she doesn't have children.
Okay. So there are ways of knowing who is married, who is not married,
Yes.
who has children, who doesn't have children.
Yes.
Which brings me, I mean, you've talked about the whole idea of circumcision being a ritual to make men believe that this is what they're going to be, an initiation. But also, when we talked about healing properties, but one of the biggest myths in Africa at the moment, because when I say Africa, because I know it started in South Africa, but it's now almost all over Africa, which is the virgin myth. Africa is suffering under a heavy load of HIV and AIDS, a disease which is making the continent, become, it's almost like the scourge of the continent, and people are saying, oh, if you have sex with a virgin, you're going to be cured of HIV and AIDS. And this has led in Tanzania, in South Africa, in Ghana, in so many parts of Africa, for young children as young as 9 months old, 5 months old, to be raped by adults who are HIV positive. Why is this myth? Is it a myth, or is there some kind of reality behind the myth? Because like you said, originally we as Africans had cures for cancer, for TB, and for other things. Is there a cure for this disease, but does it have anything to do with virginity?
Definitely there is a cure for AIDS.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a cure for AIDS, but it cannot be recognized when it comes with an African. It will be only recognized when it comes from America.
Well, that's true.
Here it is a question of people wanting to make profit about the antiretroviral medicine. But when I come with my traditional medicine, I'm not going to be recognized, because right there are bosses, there are superpowers which have invested, right, in those tablets. But if I can come with this medicine, I can be killed. The CIA can kill me anytime, because now I'll be stopping this profit that it should happen. But I'll ask you, how can you take tablets on an empty stomach? If they want to sell these tablets to Africa, where they know exactly that, right, they have taken the wealth of the Africans, and then they're coming back now wanting to sell the tablets to us on an empty stomach. Can you drink the tablets without food? Because each and every tablet which you have to take, you have to eat so that that tablets can move around your body. Once you take that drug without any food, then there are going to be some implications on your stomach or either on your body itself. So here we're talking about having those cures as medicines. That there are no side effects on those. But then, in order those medicines to pass, they have to undergo the WHO first, and then they're not going to recognize it because it's come from a primitive somebody, and then you have to make the measurements. They're going to tell you about the measurements of how much should you put and whatever. That's why they are learning. They want to learn our medicines because they want to be the experts of our own culture.
Because your health minister in South Africa is being asked to leave because she is propagating a cure with lemon, garlic, honey, and something else which you mix.
Yes.
And onions, because it has an immune system build up on those things. But even when you read up books on African traditional medicine, these are embodiments of immunity anyway.
Yes.
But at the moment, here in South Africa, you're being pushed, and it's being done by your own people to say she should leave, even though that is her supporting an alternative method to healing. What would you say to something like that? Because, I mean, at the last exhibition in Toronto, she had a lemon, she had onions, and she had garlic on the stand, which is showing that she supports this. But the South Africans want her to leave because, no, we want anti-retroviral.
Those who met in Toronto, they have invested highly in Africa on AIDS. And so the preachings of Mantu Shabararamsema are the preachings where he's avoiding them to get their profit out of Africa. Therefore, definitely, they'll have some organizations which are small to demonstrate around it. They're paid, maybe, some of those people, that they have to demonstrate that. If people were genuine enough, right? If people were genuine enough, all those countries which are overseas, they are well advanced. They are having money which they don't know what to do with. Right? That money, it is the money which they can bring to Africa to develop Africa. Every time when you talk about Africa, you're talking about the poverty-stricken Africa. Whilst they know that, right, they have taken the money from us. Every time when they focus on Mugabe. Why are they focusing on Mugabe? Why are they not focusing on developing Africa? Why actually they are not telling the people the truth about what happened in Zimbabwe, the agreement of Lancaster House? All those things, when you look at them, we spoke about Rwanda, we spoke about Kenya, the bomb in Kenya.
Yeah.
Is there anyone who have observed a minute of silence for those people? Is there any flag which went half-mast on that? But when you come to September 11, all we have to bow down and mourn with the Americans, which we are not going to do. If we're talking about humanity, if we're talking about Ubuntu, if it happens to anyone, right, it happens to us all. Therefore, we have to respect human beings as all equal.
So far this year, more than 30 initiates have died and nearly 300 admitted to hospitals in the province. These were as a result of botched circumcision, dehydration and ill treatment of initiates by traditional nurses.
This thing is multifactorial. As I'm saying, we as health were just coming in because we see these kids coming to the hospitals, we see these kids having amputations and so on and infections and some of them dying. But this is a tradition. And we are not custodians of the tradition as Department of Health. So it means there are other people that must take part in making sure that that does not happen.
Melibunga Nobinjana has been a traditional surgeon since 1984. He has recorded 0 deaths since he started. His school is at Daimani village outside Amtata. In June this year, he circumcised 720 initiates, and now he expects 1,000.
Mansi Handebe, I could have gone on speaking to you for the next couple of days. And I would love to, off camera, continue, because I know that next time I'm in South Africa, I'd like to probably travel with you and see where you're from and be able to do a little bit more research, because like you said, one of the most important things for us as Africans is to know where we're coming from, to understand where we're coming from so that we can know where we're going to. And it's been a pleasure having Mansi on my program, A Piece of My Mind.